3 is web scraping. And we're only going to touch this very lightly. It's more of an awareness of web scraping. It can be a very deep topic because every website that you try to scrape is going to be nuanced differently and structured differently. So it's one of those things that you don't really get good at it until you've done it for a while and forced yourself to become comfortable with it. But it is something that you should understand exists and that you can do with Python. And it can be very powerful. There are sites that are very easy to scrape. For instance, Craigslist is structured in such a way that it's very easy to scrape. But there are other sites like eBay is a very difficult site to scrape because it's just structured in such a way that it's not easy to grab a large amount of data and pull it down. Some sites actually actively discourage web scraping by preventing it from working in a way that you would expect. For instance, they can put in throttling. So if you attempt to access 20 different web pages on the site at the same time, or you keep loading the same page with different variables over and over again, they will throttle you and just throw 500 errors at you or something like that, just stop you from scraping the site. So it just depends on the site that you're on. In this case, you're going to follow through a tutorial for the assignment, and the tutorial, you'll just step through it. It's very straightforward. The code is there for you. You just need to follow it and then get the output that is expected. Try to do your best to understand what you're looking at. Don't just copy paste and run because it is a topic that you should at least have some understanding of. If you continue into Python 2 or Advanced Python after this semester, that will be offered in the fall, we do some more advanced web scraping where you can kind of see some of the cool stuff you can do with web scraping. It's just right now we're just doing a very simple introduction. So I'm just going to do a simple scrape here. I have a program called MyScraper. And this is very similar to what you're going to see in the tutorial. So the first thing, I'm going to have to show you how to import some packages because the requests package does not come pre-installed with Python, as well as BS4, which is called Beautiful Soup. It is also not automatically brought in with Python. So you can import these things into your program to make them available. To do that, you need to go to File. You need to go to Settings. You have to go to under Project. So this is my project called Downloader. So here I can click into my project interpreter and I can click on pip. If I double click on it, I'm going to get a new window. And you can see I have a bunch of available packages here. And I need to add the request package. You can see when I type it into the search box, request comes up, and then I have to choose install package. This can take a few seconds. If you're on a slow internet connection or whatnot, it might take a little bit longer, but it's pulling down the package and setting it up to make it available in your program. And then I also want to import BS4, which is Beautiful Soup. And if I install that, now those two packages are available to use in my program. And I have to wait until PyCharm is done updating indices. So while I'm waiting here, you can see that I am just creating a variable called URL, and in this URL, I am going to grab the course description page for this class. So that's what's there. What's here is the site that you're attempting to scrape. And then I have a variable called response, which is going to utilize requests, and it's going to get that URL. So the request module can allow you to get the HTML code from a web page. And then I'm going to take that response and just take the content of it. So there's a method called content, and I'm going to store it into HTML. And then I'm going to write it out to a file. So we've done file IO. So you can see with open, here's the file I'm going to utilize with the W+ as file, and then I'm just going to write the lines of code into the file. And I'm just going to go ahead and comment this bit out for now. and run this. Okay, so my program finished. It was able to scrape the website, get that response variable, get the HTML variable, and then write it out to a file. So now I have a file here you can see on the left called request result. If I open this, it is ugly. It is a single line, and it goes on and on and on and on and on and on and on. And it's got all of the information. So essentially, if you were to go to a site, right-click, and choose View Source, this is what you're going to see, except it would be in multi-line. But that's what's here, is the source of the page. Now, I can make this look better utilizing, no big surprise here, Beautiful Soup. So if I remove my commenting here, again, I had to do an import. Normally when I do a program, I would import it up here, but I just separated it out this way. And I am going to utilize BS, which is Beautiful Soup, .Beautiful Soup. So it's a module in the Beautiful Soup package called Beautiful Soup. It's going to open that file that I just created, and it's going to utilize an HTML parser. And then I'm going to print the output to my screen. So now if I run it again, you can look down here at my console, I get a much nicer looking view of this web page. So it's still got a lot of, the tabbing and the new line stuff, but it is much more readable. So if I go down here and do a control find, I can find my name because I'm the instructor for this course. So this is that page's code. Now, this in and of itself, you wouldn't be able to do a ton with. However, when you get into more advanced scraping stuff, you would be able to utilize these different classes to pull the pertinent information. So you could pull from this TD class, course instructor, you could pull the code underneath that and store it into a variable somewhere. So now, once you learn how to pull that information out of this HTML, now you've got utilizable text or information that you can do stuff with in your program. That's where the scraping becomes really powerful. We unfortunately don't get into that part of it in this course, but we are able to access the site, scrape the information off of it, and store it in a localized manner. So that's that.